NATO countries have delivered just 5% of their weapons to Ukraine. On March 24th, President Zelensky spoke at a NATO summit. He reiterated his earlier appeal for weapons.
You can give us 1% of all your aircraft, 1% of all your tanks, 1%.
Since then, NATO supplies to Ukraine have grown considerably. Let's take a look at some numbers. NATO currently has 30 member states. They differ vastly in their defensive capabilities. Estonia, for example, doesn't have a single tank in its arsenal. The United States, on the other hand, has a whopping 8,725. This is why the deliveries to Ukraine haven't been equal. Some countries have given almost 20% of their stockpiles. Others have given next to nothing. But you might be surprised to learn the details. Let's take a look at 3 types of heavy weapons requested by Ukraine. These are most crucial for winning the war. 1. Artillery. This is what Ukraine needs the most, and this is generally where NATO has been the most generous. Before the war, Ukraine only operated Soviet air artillery systems. But it's almost run out of 122mm and 152mm shells. Artillery plays a key role in the war. This is where Russia still has a clear advantage. Artillery superiority allows Russia to slow down Ukrainian advances. Artillery supplies to Ukraine began in April. Since then, NATO has transferred 4% of its pieces. Ukraine has received about 400 towed and self-propelled guns. These all use the NATO standard 105mm or 155mm caliber. The largest number of systems was given by the US, about 200 pieces. Of course, the US also has the largest reserves. In total, the US has 1,523 self-propelled guns, 2,151 howitzers, and 800 MLRS systems. So the artillery delivered to Ukraine constitutes just 1% of the American arsenal. Czechia and the UK have been the most generous in relative terms. The Czechs have transferred about 30% of all their artillery to Ukraine. The UK has given up more than 20%. 2. Armored vehicles. NATO countries have given roughly 1% of their armored vehicles. Once again, the largest supplier is the US with more than 1,140 pieces. That's 0.7% of all armored vehicles in its arsenal. Relatively speaking, Czechia is once again the champion here. It's given up almost 15% of its tanks and IFs. Poland and Lithuania have each delivered more than 10% of their armored stocks. 3. Aviation. This is where Ukraine received the least. Bulgaria refused to give up its Su-25 jets. Instead, 14 of them were purchased by NATO and given to Ukraine. Additionally, 4 Su-25s were given by North Macedonia. That's it for planes. The US also gave Ukraine 20 Mi-17 B-5 utility helicopters. These had been originally bought for the Afghan Air Force. Czechia sent around 4 Mi-24 gunships. Slovakia and Latvia sent 6 Mi-17s and 3 Mi-2s. That's it so far. Some of the best armed NATO countries have given nothing. Turkey only sells weapons to Ukraine on a normal basis. Greece, who has 1,200 tanks and as many howitzers, has still given nothing. Romania is the largest operator of the M270 MLRS in Europe. Of its 54 systems, it has sent exactly 0 to Ukraine. In April, President Zelensky remarked,
"When some leaders ask me what weapons I need a moment to calm myself because I already told them the week before. It's Groundhog Day. I feel like Bill Murray.